poems that are going to be read at Trunk Fest, which is in Evanston with Head Press. And so I've got, I think, 5 brand new pieces, totally different styles of things, so bear with me. This first one is my political piece for the night. This one is called End of an Empire. I've heard political pundits on both sides say we're becoming a third world country. Our products are made in third world countries. All of our technology is Asian. We've stopped manufacturing anything. Unemployment's sky high. We owe China billions. Maybe this really is the end of an empire, they say. Now, the only empire I can remember from history is the Roman Empire, where leaders had so much power. And like America, sodomy was illegal, unless it was with a non-Roman or a slave. And in America, I think the 7th state allowed gay marriages the other day. And yesterday, the president said they will not differentiate marriage now as only between a man and woman. So it doesn't have to be a man and woman. You know, a comedic political pundit then just asked if that meant that bestiality was now legal according to the federal government. And I'm sure that it's not. But lines are being moved, and lines are being crossed. And how closely did the life of Caligula coincide with the end of the Roman Republic, I wonder? I got politics out of the way. This one is for anybody who feels stressed out with having to do so much and you can't relax or good stuff. This one, I wish Michael Oak was around. He said he wanted to hear this one. This is called Escape My Brain Somehow. Thinking is my demon. Sleeplessness surrounds me. Some meditate, rise above it all, live in a higher plane of existence. I wish I knew how to escape my brain. Maybe then I could actually get a night's rest. Then at times I hear the delusions of the mentally insane, hear their existential ramblings, hear their nonsensical blather. Some meditate to a higher plane, some psychotically imagine it. So when I'm stuck in a corner like this and my brain is still reeling, I wish I could just be crazy sometimes. Let me talk to imaginary people. Let me think I see more than everyone else. Even if I imagined that the world was out to get me, at least then I could justify believing that I was important. But if insanity gave me demons, I still wouldn't be able to sleep. This one, I think I somebody mentioned something about elephants, and I thought of this dreamlike piece. It's called Elephants Carry the World. Elephants carry the world. In a line, in a chain, they walk, hold up the earth. And I remember sitting in the passenger seat with you driving down the road, and 2 elephants started walking down the street in front of us. Slow down. Get out of the way, I thought. And as you started to pull over, I looked at you in a panic, and I said, I don't have my camera with me. And you pulled over as the 2 elephants, one much larger than the other, started walking across the street and stopped right on the sidewalk, not 3 feet away from us. We must have sat there in shock and awe until I watched a man from a building across the street come running toward us, slowing down and stopping at a ledge between us and the elephants. He placed some hard wrapped candies on the ledge and said to the elephants, I thought you might like these. And then he slowly backed away. All I could think was, how are they supposed to open these candies wrapped in plastic like that? They don't have opposable thumbs. When you heard my thoughts, you said, elephants are highly intelligent creatures. And I thought, they carry the world, you know. And as I looked over, I saw the 2 elephants then get on large bicycles and start to ride away. This one, of this band. It's just my favorite by far, and I think it's because it doesn't sound like it's in my voice or my style. This is called One by One, The Beech Trees Fell. I have lived at this grove all my life. The beautiful trees have always lined the roads. The beech trees even line the drive to our home. Everything was blooming by the end of May when you came in from the coast to our home, and the war didn't touch here. Could hear noise in the distance one morning. He told me some trees had already been felled on the General Field Marshal's urgent orders. Rommel was sure an attack was imminent. They couldn't leave trees for enemy hideouts, and so they fell our trees, one by one. Looked out the front door, saw our stripped land. These trees had souls, and no one mourns the loss of a species with roots on this land longer than we. They didn't do this everywhere. I hear they left some trees up in fields so glider planes would be destroyed while landing. What lives are worth saving, I thought, as the soldiers continued doing their job after the beech trees fell. As I said, because I hear things at the cafe, I have one piece, and it's about women's issues, so I'm hoping that I can call up my lovely and darling Jenene Ravesloot to join me for reading this poem. You've even got your own microphone and everything.
Wow.
You're so awesome. This one, we'll see how this goes, and if you need the chair, I got it there.
I think I can stand.
Alrighty, so.
At least it's early in the evening.
Is that agreeable for you?
Yeah,
That?
I kind of think so. How about this?
I'm just wondering if pages through and you need a few
No,
there. You're all right?
okay.
All right. This one is called Before It Occurred to Me.
Ask the extra. Is this on playing shoes?
Is she quiet over here?
Am I quiet?
Can you hear her? No?
I mean, it's not a big deal. It sounds
I think
like
it was
it's kind
off.
of okay.
That sounds like it worked.
All
This
right.
is called Before It Occurred to Me.
This is good. As the extra kitchen cleanser mixed with the laundry detergent, I spilled on the floor before.
The fumes rose. I opened a window, turned on a fan, coughed.
Before it occurred to me that I could mix these cleaning fluids at just the right time
and leave him trapped here to this fate.
as he has trapped me here for countless years.
No, I'm no Nazi.
No, I'm not evil.
I'm a woman. And sometimes, after you spent years breathing these fumes, you finally decide when enough is enough. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And as I said, those are going to be read at Truck Fest in Evanston on the 28th. So doing this very, very short story, that was actually the last piece of a show I did in North last December. And I don't have my props because I would have a cigarette, so I was like wadding up a tissue and a cigarette right here. And John Yatko is going to help me read this thing because I can't do it all myself, I guess. This is called Stalker. And she got out of her car, walked across the driveway, and walked up the stairs to her porch, trying to enjoy her solitude, trying not to remember that he had followed her once again. She thought she was free of him. She thought he moved on with his life and that she would not have to see his face again. Why did he have to call her on this one particular day, years later? When she was at work even. Maybe if she could have been, suspecting it, she might have been able to be braced for it. But then again, she didn't want to think about it. She was happy that she was finally starting to feel as if she had control of her life again. It had been so many years. Why would she have expected him to follow her again? And didn't she make it clear years ago that she didn't want him waiting for her outside of her house in the car anymore? That she didn't want to receive the hang-up calls at 3 in the morning anymore? Or the calls in the middle of the night when he'd stayed on the line, when she could tell that he was high and he could profess his love to her? Or the letters, or the threats? No, the police couldn't do anything about it until he took action, when it was too late. Why did he come back? Why couldn't he leave her alone? Why could it be illegal for someone to fill her with such fear for years, to make her dread being in her own house alone, to make her wonder if her feeling that she was being followed wasn't real? All these thoughts rushed through her head as she sat on her front porch swing, opening her mail. One bill, one piece of junk mail, one survey. It was only a phone call, she had to keep thinking to herself. He may never call again. She had no idea where he was even calling from. For all she knew, he could have been on the other side of the country. It was only a phone call. And then everything started to go wrong in her mind again. The bushes around the corner of her house were rustling a little too loud. There were too many cars that sounded like they were stopping near her house. Her own breathing even scared her. I could go into the house, she thought, but she knew that she would be filled with fear there too. Would the phone ring? Would there be a knock on the door? Or would he even bother with a knock? He could just break a window, let himself in, cut the phone line so that she wouldn't stand a chance. No, she knew better. She knew she had to stay outside, that she couldn't let this fear take a hold of her again. And so she sat. She looked at her phone bill again, as she heard the creak of the porch swing. She swore she heard someone else breathing. No, she wouldn't look up from her bill because she knew that no one was there. Then he spoke.
Hi.
She looked up. He was standing right at the base of her stairs, not 6 feet away from her. "What are you doing on my property?"
Oh, come on. You used to not hate me so much.
He lit a cigarette, a Marlboro Red, with a match.
So, why wouldn't you take my call today?
Why would I? What do I have to say to you?
You're really making a bigger deal out of this than it is.
He said, then took a drag. She watched the smoke come out of his mouth as he spoke.
We used to have it good.
She got up and walked toward him. This was surprising to her in her own mind. She always thought that she had actually never able to walk closer to him. She'd actually be running away. She stood at the top of the stairs. "Can I have a smoke?"
Sure.
He said, and he reached up his hand to hand her their fire stick. She reached out for the matches. I'll light it." She put the match to the end of the paper and leaves, watched it turn orange. She didn't want this cigarette. She needed to look more calm. Calm. Just be calm. She remained at the top of the stairs, and he stood only 6 feet below her. She sat on the top stair. "Do you really think we ever got along?"
Sure. I mean, I don't know how you got in your head.
"Do you think I enjoyed finding your car outside my house all the time? Did I enjoy seeing you at the same bars I was at, watching me and my friends like you were recording their faces into your memory forever? Do you think I liked you coming to bother me while I was working this store? Do you..."
I was.
She paused. "You were what?"
I was logging everyone you were with into my head.
She said, silent.
At the bars, I remember every face. I remember every one of them. I had to, you see. I had to know who was trying to take you away. I needed to know who they were.
She sat still. She couldn't blink. She stared at him. It was just as she was afraid it would be. All these years, and she begged him to stop. But nothing changed. She couldn't take it anymore. She put out her right hand, not knowing exactly what she'd do if she held his hand. He put his left hand in hers. "You know," she said, then paused for a drag of that red fire, "this state would consider what you did to me years ago stalking." She held his hand tighter, holding his fingers closer together. She could feel her lungs moving her up and down. He didn't even hear her. He was fixated on looking at his hand and hers until their eyes met. They just burned holes into each other's eyes, through the iris, through the pupil, and down to the actual souls, where they burned holes into each other's heads with their stares. And you know, she said, as she lifted her cigarette, I do, too. And then she quickly moved that cigarette toward the hands together and put it in the top of his hands. He screamed, grabbed his hands, bent over, pressed harder, swore, yelled. She stood. Her voice suddenly changed. Now, I'm going to say this once, and I won't say it again. I want you off my property. I want you out of my life. I swear to God, if you come within 50 feet of me or anything related to me or anything that belongs to me, I'll get a court order. I'll get a gun. I'll do whatever it takes to keep you away forever. Now go. He held his left hand with his right, the fingers in his right hand purple from the pressure he was using on his open sore. He moaned while she spoke. She stood at the top of the stairs, looking down on him. He slowly walked away. She thought for a moment she had truly taken her life back again. Then she looked down and clenched in her fist in her left hand was that cigarette that she just put out.